Tadej Pogačar, the world's best cyclist and Tour de France champion, is racing 1,189 amateurs up his local mountain in Slovenia. But hidden in that crowd is a 40-year-old dad of two and full-time solicitor who might just beat him. There have been many epic battles of the ages. Hector versus Achilles, Oasis versus Blur, Chris Rock versus Will Smith. But now we have Feather versus Pog, the epic showdown.
Now, unfortunately, I couldn't make it to Slovenia, but in my stead, I've sent the most Italian man in the world, Alan Marangoni from GCN Italia, or as I like to call him, Alan.
The event is called the Pogi Challenge and it takes place in Komenda, Slovenia. The format is very simple. 1,200 amateurs can race against Tadej Pogačar and they will start at the bottom of the climb 3 minutes before Tadej. Tadej will start and he tries to catch up everybody. The first part of the race will be neutralized for 8 kilometers. The bunch will stop at the bottom of the climb and from then will be the real start of the race. Pogačar is confident he can beat all the amateur riders, but maybe he doesn't expect to find someone like Andrew Feather. I think it will be a big surprise for him.
As an amateur, Andrew Feather is a multiple national hill climb champion and our very own cycling Stig here on GCN.
My fitness is pretty good at the moment. I'm in the middle of the hill climb season in the UK, so yeah, it's good timing. I've done a recon of the climb this afternoon and the climb it's a really hard climb. It's almost 1,300 meters in elevation and it's really, really steep at the start. So yeah, it's a big climb. I think Pogačar is pretty much the best cyclist in the world at the moment, so it'll be an incredible experience to go up against him tomorrow. Do I think I can beat him? No, I don't think I can beat him, but it'll be interesting just to go and ride against him, and you know, hopefully he'll try. So it'll be interesting to go up against him.
Now, I know what you're thinking. There's absolutely no way that Andrew Feather can come anywhere near to Tadej Pogačar. He's good, but he's not that good. Well, don't be so quick to judge. We took Andrew Feather a week ago to the Sports Science Lab at Exeter University to find out exactly what he is capable of. And it's outrageous.
We went to visit Dr. Tim Pogačar, an exercise physiologist who works with cycling teams such as Bora and Tudor Pro Cycling. He knows the physiological requirements to win at the top of pro cycling. He first measured Feather's body composition, which at just 4.6% fat is comparable to a Tour de France contender. And we then looked at his blood lactate.
So what is the purpose of this test, this first test we're doing?
So during the first test, we will measure his lactate thresholds. So basically see his basic physiology. Basically, the first threshold is when you start, the cycling becomes a bit harder. You start to accumulate lactate in the bloodstream, which means that anaerobic processes are a bit more active than otherwise. And this is the first point that you basically can't talk anymore during exercise. Okay. So basically zone 1 or zone 2 training. And then we have LT2, is basically the second threshold, the last sustainable point when you can still kind of maintain stable lactate concentrations, and once you go above, you basically can't do anymore.
And that, to the sort of layman, is what most people traditionally refer to as FTP.
Yeah, you can call it FTP or second lactate threshold or even critical power.
Okay.
So for predicting his performance on hill climbs, we would use critical power, which usually is a bit higher than lactate threshold 2. But in the lab, it's easier to measure. So we do this by having 4-minute stages, increasing the power at 30 watts. And yeah, we just go for as long as we can. And the other thing we will do is, I think we can be pretty useful, is measure his efficiency. So how efficiently he utilizes the oxygen, puts down the power. This is something that, especially in running, for instance, is like determinant that's as important as VO2 max and second lactate threshold. In cycling, people are more like close together in terms of efficiency, but still it's really important for people like him. Why does he even have the saddle on his bike?
I've asked these questions many times. Why does he have a saddle on his bike? So he's currently doing like 47 millilitres. Feather's currently doing 390 watts. And his VO2 max at this point is about 67. And he's just been asked what his rate of perceived exertion is, and he pointed to somewhat hard, 14 out of 20. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Imagine Pogačar's right behind you. Good job, mate.
The next test was a VO2 max test. This is a measure of a person's aerobic capacity.
So we're going to measure maximal oxygen uptake, which is the maximal amount of oxygen you can uptake, or he can uptake. And it's a really good predictor of aerobic fitness, and it's one of those parameters that we're really interested in when we are profiling someone for physiological characteristics.
And what would, for like reference, what would an average human man be sort of capable of doing? What would you expect to see?
An average inactive person would probably have this value below 40.
Okay.
Probably 30 just over. Average active person would have this value between 40 and 50. And anyone that kind of trains regularly, either cycling, running, would have this value above 50.
Okay.
And then elite athletes would be in the 70s or 80s.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Pushing, keep pushing, come on.
Yeah,
come
go on, Andrew, go on.
The start is the hardest, come on, keep pushing, keep pushing.
Yeah, it's good, mate, keep going.
Still going up, keep pushing.
Keep going, mate, keep going.
Amazing work, come on. Push, 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 come on, come on, come on, come on.
Keep going,
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, you got more, come on, push, push, push now,
Push, 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 push. Super strong, come on, come on, come on, come on. That's it, very good.
Good job, mate, good job.
Amazing. That was impressive.
With the tests performed, I was keen to find out how Feather compares to the best Tour de France riders.
Well, thanks for carrying out those experiments, Tim. What are the scores? What are the numbers that we've seen for Andrew Feather?
That he can pretty much go straight into the World Tour and not be just somewhere, but be among the best probably in a fresh state.
Really? And like, what were his values for VO2 max and his like lactate threshold and that you saw?
VO2 max is just above 80, so 82, around 82, which is puts him into like among the best in the world probably.
Actually, once Tim had processed the results, Feather's relative VO2 max was 83, and he is huge considering his age. It's likely to have been higher when he was younger too. And for context, Chris Froome was famously tested after winning the Tour de France and was shown to have a VO2 max of 84.
But what is even more impressive, at least in my opinion, are the thresholds. The first lactate threshold, this is when you start to breathe a bit more hard.
So zone 2.
Basically the end of zone 2, and we found it to be around 370 watts.
370 watts. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. In terms of watts per kilo, that's over 5 watts per kilo.
Oh, that's well above 5 watts per kilo. Like talking about more than 5.5 watts per kilo.
Wow. And then, so his second lactate inflection point, commonly referred to as like FTP, for people at home, what did we see that as?
Just over 400 watts.
Right.
So this, we're talking about more than 6 watts per kilo,
Yeah.
which is exceptional. And not many World Tour riders would probably be able to hold that pace.
So he's not just as good as a World Tour pro, he's as good as he's amongst the best World Tour pros in terms of what he's able to do.
Yeah, I would say so. Like when it comes to the power on the climb, definitely. The question is how he would cope with fatigue resistance. So how much power he would have after doing, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilojoules of work. So after 200 kilometers, but in a fresh state. So if it was just like an uphill time trial, he would definitely perform among the best.
Heading into his race against Pogačar, how does he compare to Pogačar based on sort of what you know?
I would think that, yeah, Pogačar is still stronger than him because Pogačar is on the next level as compared to everyone else. But if he has a few minutes of an advantage at the start, I'm pretty sure that it's possible to beat him, especially because I doubt Pogačar is expecting a person that is as strong as him.
Of that caliber to hustle him.
The best watts per kilo performances in the Tour de France on climbs of a similar length have typically been around 5.9 to 6.3 watts per kilo. However, Pogačar is on another level, and I think he thought that this would be a fun ride and was not necessarily expecting someone like Andrew Feather would crawl out of the woodwork. Back at the race, and the ultimate game of cat and mouse was about to begin. 10 kilometres of a neutral flat run-in followed by a 15-kilometre climb. Alain was trying his best to stay with Feather on the flat run-in. But even before Feather had started the climb, Pogačar begins his chase. On the lower slopes, a few riders start writing checks their bodies can't cash, but fortunately, Feather can, and quickly dispatches them. Despite several strong amateurs in the field holding over 5 watts per kilo, they are all inevitably dropped by Feather. But Pogačar was in hot pursuit, his aero-seated climbing position giving him a distinct advantage. Pogačar was riding at well over 6 watts per kilo, but making it look easy while taking selfies. Ridiculous. Into the final kilometres, and Feather still had a lead. Pogačar was closing the gap, confident of victory. He was also still enjoying the crowds. Approaching the finish line, Andrew Feather emerges through the mist as the first rider. The commentators are expecting it to be Pogačar. That has been the entire setup of the event, but Feather has ripped up the script and completed the biggest upset in world sport since Leicester City won the Premier League.
The first place goes to Great Britain, Andrew Feather!
Andrew averaged an incredible 397 watts, which equates to 6.22 watts per kilo for 45 minutes. We know this because his weight on the morning of the climb was 63.8 kilograms. To put this into context, this is amongst the very best climbing performances you see in the Tour de France. It also allows us to see just how good Tadej is. He was 3.5 minutes faster on the climb, and this allows us to back-calculate his power. His weight is reported to be 65 kilograms, meaning he'll have to produce a bit more power than Andrew. However, he prefers to ride seated, which at these incredible climbing speeds is faster because aerodynamics still matters. Factoring this in, we can estimate that Tadej did around 6.45 watts per kilo, or around 420 watts, which is insane when you consider that less than 24 hours before, he won one of the most prestigious and grueling races in pro cycling, Il Lombardia. It has been estimated that Pogačar has produced 6.8 to 7 watts per kilo on climbs of similar duration in big races, meaning he's capable of much more than what we saw today.
As good as Tadej Pogačar is, though, I'm willing to bet that immediately after the race, he didn't have to fly home, do the school run, followed by a full day of intense legal paperwork and litigation.
So what can we conclude from this? Well, Andrew Feather is phenomenal. And I hope that this video highlights not just his natural ability and talent, but also the hard work that he's put in to be in the shape that he is, despite being a husband, a father, and having a full-time job. It's incredible. But I also hope this video highlights just how unbelievable Tadej Pogačar is. He's on a whole nother level, and not just to riders like Andrew, but to the very best riders in the world tour. He physiologically is, arguably the greatest cyclist the world has ever seen. But I can't help but wonder, what if? What if Andrew Feather had been talent spotted at a younger age and had the opportunity to become a pro cyclist and benefited from the very best coaching, nutrition, altitude camps, and all the rest of it? What would have happened? Well, I guess we'll never know, but it's interesting to think about. And if you'd like to see more of him, well, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you don't already. And if you want to see some more of the other outrageous things we've got him to do on the channel, of which there are many, then make sure you check those videos out as sort of our cycling stig. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I hope you've enjoyed this. Love you. Bye.